The third point I want to relate to you concerning overspray is in cases when you're spraying the inside of a cabinet. Now it wouldn't matter, and this is just a cardboard box of course to simulate that. It wouldn't matter how tall or how wide the cabinet is. When you're spraying the inside of a cabinet, you have a greater likelihood of causing overspray because your spray gun is going to be getting into it as much as you can, that is. And as you're spraying, the spray will have a tendency to bounce around in the cabinet. Now, if you remove the back of the cabinet, then that will make a dramatic difference as well. So when you're spraying cabinets or bookshelves or anything, any cabinetry that has a back on it, try to do so with the back off, and that will help you quite a bit. And another thing related to that, of course, is to try to adjust your spray gun. So the best thing to do is to reduce the amount of air and as well then reduce the amount of fluid. So by reducing the amount of air that's entering into your gun and reducing the fluid and balancing the two together, then you'll have less overspray in enclosed areas. But I'd still strongly recommend that you remove the back of the cabinet. I hope that one helps you out. I'd like you to pretend for a minute that I've got a table here and that with the top already affixed. Now, if you're spraying pieces where you could remove the top before you spray the supporting legs and the frame of the table, there's going to be a lot less likelihood that you're going to have overspray when you're spraying the top going on to the legs. So that's another point that I want to make. Try to spray your pieces dismantled to the greatest extent possible. So in the case of this situation with a simulated table, I'd remove this top and I'd be spraying this separately. And then I don't have to worry about getting any overspray on it. So I would just set this onto my work piece support. And again, that has to be smaller in size than the piece that I'm spraying. And I would be able to proceed with spraying this table, the rest of the table myself. So let's just take the top off of here. So in this case here, I have a center supporting column and two legs. So the process that I'm going to use for doing this, I'm going to go from the top to the bottom because as a general rule of thumb, the overspray is heavier than the air and it'll eventually settle down. And in the case, I've got my fan behind me and it'll draw it away. So what I would do in this case, because this is fairly narrow, I'm going to set my fan to a little bit narrower of a fan width. And I'm going to have my fan oriented so that it's going to be in line with the piece that I'm spraying. So I'm spraying the post. And so I would just come down and I would spray in this manner and then go down and do that one leg there. Then I'd come over to this side and I do exactly the same thing. I would spray here and then down. And then the last one, I would do in exactly the same manner. So by going from the top to the bottom, then there's less likelihood of having overspray going and settling onto the area that I've sprayed first. And that brings me to my next point.